They say you don't really know your neighbors until you join the HOA. I never intended to. I moved out to Saddle Creek Ranch to escape exactly that kind of suburban power trip, to have peace and space and water, specifically a spring-fed private lake I'd stocked with bass and trout over the years. The land had been in my family for generations. My grandfather dammed the stream in the 50s. My father built the pier and boathouse. I built the solar shed and brought in the kayaks and paddleboards. When the new HOA was formed by the influx of luxury homes along the northern ridge, they assured us legacy owners that we could opt out of membership. I did, or so I thought. Enter Karen Wellington. She showed up on my porch one morning with a clipboard, a fake smile, and an aggressively pastel pantsuit. She didn't ask so much as announce that her son, Tyler, would be having his 16th birthday by the lake. Not happening, I said, motioned to close the door. She wedged a wedge-heeled foot in the gap. Oh, don't be silly. You're part of the HOA now. The community voted. Voted on what? That you can just give away private property. Voted to designate the lake as a shared recreational resource. Article 14.2 in the new covenant. Covenant I didn't sign. She clucked her tongue like I was a child refusing medicine. Well, maybe you didn't read the fine print. Your parcel is within the designated HOA overlay zone now. The birthday party happened anyway. Tyler and 50 of his hormone-riddled friends tore through my property like a raccoon in a trash bin. They left beer cans, knocked over kayaks, and someone spray-painted a cartoon chicken on my boathouse. I called the sheriff. They shrugged. It's a civil matter. I called a lawyer. He confirmed my worst fears. Somewhere along the line, in a county reassessment I never got notified about, my plot was folded into the HOA jurisdiction due to a clerical error. And now, with enough signatures, the HOA had leverage. The legal fight would take months. Karen saw me one morning while walking her Shih Tzu and offered a smirk. We just want what's best for the community. I smiled back. So do I? Karen liked to talk at the monthly HOA meetings like she was a queen of a tiny kingdom. She opened every agenda with a joke, laughed louder than anyone else, and ensured her name appeared on every committee roster. But she had one weakness. She didn't read. I knew this because she confused bylaws with covenants, and once tried to enforce a noise policy that didn't exist. So I volunteered for the Budget Oversight Committee. Quietly, without fanfare, and no one objected. I started small, requested a complete audit of the HOA's expenses, citing transparency. Karen praised the idea in public. Then I began redirecting funds. Not illegally, not even dishonestly. I just prioritized things. Maintenance over decorations. Road repair over party planning. Soon her precious social committee was running bake sales to fund their balloon arches. Then I got the budget authority to renegotiate vendor contracts. Karen didn't even notice I slashed the landscaping crew's hours and replaced them with a local college co-op who agreed to plant native grasses instead of overwatering sod. That alone saved us $20,000. I funneled the surplus into a quiet little line item, Environmental Restoration Reserve. The next time Karen planned a party at her lake, she was surprised to find the access road blocked with cones and a construction sign, Wetlands Rehabilitation in Progress. She called the cops. They're stealing our lake, she shrieked. When they arrived, I showed them the permits. The county had signed off. As it turns out, restoring a spring-fed lake to its natural state earns you points with the Department of Environmental Quality. Karen stood on the road, sputtering, while the sheriff nodded at the documents. Looks like he's well within his rights. She jabbed a finger at me. You can't do this. I run the HOA. No, I said, you run the bake sales. I manage the budget. Karen didn't go down easy. People like her rarely do. She launched a smear campaign, claimed I was embezzling funds, demanded an emergency audit, called for a special vote to have me removed. But she had a problem. Her supporters liked the new roads. They liked the lower dues. They liked not paying for her son's private DJ. Then she tried to play dirty. One morning, I found a notice stapled to my fence. It claimed I was in violation of HOA Rule 7.3, unauthorized alteration of community features. She meant the beaver dam I helped reinforce last month. Then came the fines. $250 a day, escalating. I got letters, then liens, then threats. But while Karen had ambition, I had patience. I filed for arbitration, filed an injunction, filed a FOIA request on her communications as HOA president. Turns out she'd been misclassifying social expenses as maintenance costs for 3 years. All documented, all provable. At the next HOA meeting, I dropped a folder on the table. You're accusing me of fraud? Might want to check your own books. She blanched. A few members exchanged looks. One whispered, "Is that why our dues went up last year?" Karen stood, tried to deflect. "This is a distraction. He's destroying our recreational resources. The lake isn't recreational. It's privately owned. The only reason the HOA ever accessed it was due to a clerical error, one that is currently being corrected." I dropped a second folder. Meet the new plat map. County approved. Gasps. Karen lunged for the documents, but the secretary had already snapped a photo. The board called an emergency vote. She was suspended pending investigation. Tyler's birthday went back to being held at their backyard bounce house. It took 3 more months for the county to fully revert the zoning. The lake was once again mine, and mine alone. The wetlands designation gave it protected status, and I even secured a grant to study the native amphibians. Karen was ousted by a 12-1 vote. She moved out not long after. Rumor has it she tried to start an HOA in her new neighborhood and was immediately voted down by every resident in the cul-de-sac. The new HOA board asked me to stay on. I declined, but I did leave them with a balanced budget, a fully digitized archive, and one final amendment to the bylaws. No HOA activity may infringe upon the property rights of non-consenting landowners. They called it the Legacy Clause. On warm afternoons now, I sit on my dock, a rod in hand, and a mug of coffee steaming beside me. The lake glitters undisturbed. I didn't move here to make enemies. I moved here for peace. But when peace is threatened by people like Karen, sometimes the best revenge is just knowing the rules better than they do, and making sure next time they have to read the fine print.